when we started our search, we had a fantastic search firm. Want to thank Drew Turner and Marcy with CSA Search and Consulting. You know, they really allowed us to start this process really 3 weeks before Eric let us know he was going to take this job at Oklahoma State. And it gave us the time to really go through an extensive search to be ready to move fast. You got to move fast in these situations. And I can tell you from the first conversation, Coach Brown's been on my radar for a long time. I know a lot of people in the business who have worked with him, administrators at a number of institutions, have a number of coaching friends that I've known over time who have had the opportunity to work under his leadership, have had student athletes reach out to talk about the impact of Coach Neal Brown on their life and the role that he's had as a coach. And I'm just extremely excited that we were able to get this thing done and get it done quickly with the man sitting in front of me. When we look at the things that are important, and I always like to reiterate this, when you go into a search, you know, there's several things that I think fit North Texas. We want to find coaches in this environment who have done it before, head coaching experience, who have been through the fire, who understand what this new era looks like, people who certainly value and understand the role of Texas football in the state of Texas and just the connections and relationships there. I always want to find somebody who's a teacher and developer of men. I know the impact that sports had on my life, and you know, Coach Brown, his entire family's educators. He's going to touch on that. I don't want to steal his thunder, but he's experienced that at every level, and it's been a part of his life, and he's going to continue to do that in a great way here. I think the one thing that's missed when you look at coaching searches today, you really need to find leaders who are adaptive. This environment, you can't just take the cookie cutter approach and do what you did yesterday, tomorrow. Like, it is changing so fast. You need people who are ready to step up and adapt to this new environment and just the landscape that we are in. And at the end of the day, too, like, we've got an opportunity to get somebody who's engaged and understands a campus, a community in Denton and in the area of North Texas. And I feel like we accomplished all these things in being able to land Coach Brown. Our first ever conversation that we had, and I want to tell you, when you look at the foundation of what you're getting today with Coach Brown and his leadership, I asked him, the very first question was hey, describe to me your philosophy and kind of your style as a coach. What's your foundation? He said, our foundation is always the relentless pursuit of better. And I just think when we're trying to build champions, we're trying to prepare leaders, and we're trying to do the things that this institution's planted a flag down in the ground for, that's what we want every day, somebody who wakes up hungry to make this place better. Yeah, I look at, again, I've touched on just some of my conversations with him, the opportunity, the culture he's built, the places he's been. I think if you follow just the interaction, engagement, I mean, we had, at his announcement, our post got over 1.2 million views. We haven't had that in a lot of our posts that we've had, but it says a lot just to the people who pay attention and follow and have admiration for what he's built over his career in coaching. Coach Brown spent time as a student athlete at Kentucky and UMass. He's also coached at a number of different levels, so he's seen it at places that don't have all the resources. He's been able to see it at the places that have the highest level of resources. He's been a coordinator at Texas Tech, Kentucky. He was the head coach at Troy, which we all probably don't want to remember our last experience with Troy at the New Orleans Bowl a few years back. And he had a great run at West Virginia. You look at, his 23 team at West Virginia, they were able to go 9-4 and had the most single season wins for a program since 2016. They finished in the top 25 that year. You know, I just think when you look at all the things that you value, postseason success, 5-1 in bowl games. I mean, we could go on listing the things that he's been able to accomplish. And so I'm just feel like every time you look at Coach Brown and every career path he's had, he's been a man of impact. He's innovative. He fits what we want to have in our culture here at UNT. And I think the thing that you guys are going to enjoy is just his ability to connect. That's important here, and we want to continue that momentum here. He spoke a lot about his desire to want to make sure to get to meet the people here at North Texas and the opportunities to further engage Denton in this community. And more than anything, he's a winner. And so It's my pleasure today to welcome and help me introduce your new UNT football coach, Coach Neal Brown.
Yeah. First of all, Jared, thank you for the kind words. Dr. Keller, thank you. I appreciate your trust, and we will not let you down. And so, good morning, and thank everyone for being here. What a tremendous turnout on a Monday morning. And I know a lot of people have a lot of things going on, especially during this holiday season. For you to make the commitment to be here for this means the world to my family and I. I say this, and I don't say this lightly. I'm extremely grateful. I'm humbled. I'm excited to stand in front of you as the next head football coach at North Texas. And I'm fired up about leading a program in the state of Texas. Texas is the home of the best high school football in the country, and it's not close. And we'll dig into that here in a second. I want to recognize, first of all, my wife, Brooke, and my oldest daughter, Adeline, my middle daughter, Ansley, and Jared. It was really important for you to give me all those nice compliments because they needed to hear it. Okay, like if anybody else heard it or not, I'm not sure, but I wanted them to hear it because they're going to tell me everything I did wrong as soon as I leave. And so, and then my son, Dax, and this is a family profession, and they're going to be deeply involved. They'll be around. They're going to be at all the activities. They're going to have a presence on campus. They're going to be in the Denton community and the greater North Texas community. So all the credit goes to them, especially to Brooke. My parents, Tom and Peggy Brown, are here, and my in-laws, Morris and Pat Stewart, are here. So very appreciative, and I think it gives you a good idea, or kind of look into what's important to Brooke and I, and that's family. And as Jared mentioned, we're a family of educators. My wife was elementary school teacher, my dad high school principal, my mom elementary school librarian, Pat elementary school kindergarten teacher, and then Morris was a high school principal, coach, teacher as well. So we come from a family of educators. I want to start by congratulating Coach Morris. And I think the goal in our profession is to leave a place better than you found it. And today, there's no question he leaves North Texas better than he found it. And what this team and this staff was able to accomplish this year, 11 wins. I was in New Orleans, and I could feel the energy. And you can feel the energy in this room right now. And that has to do with the momentum that Coach Morris and this team and his staff created. So I want to recognize them. I've been very fortunate to be in leadership positions in this profession now for 17 years. And that kind of ages me when I say that. But 7 years as a coordinator, tremendous runs at Troy University, Texas Tech University, and the University of Kentucky as a coordinator, and then 10 as a head coach at Troy University and then West Virginia University. And very appreciative of the athletic directors, the university leadership, and the players at each of those stops. And I think I'm a compilation of those individuals, and the people that have poured into me have got me to this point. And so during this process, I was asked, why North Texas? And I want to take a second here and just speak on why North Texas for Brooke and the kids and I. And number one, it starts with alignment. Jared used that word. Outstanding leadership when I sat down with Jared and Connor, and who, by the way, along with Drew Turner and CSA, they did a tremendous job with this search, and very appreciative of that. But I enjoyed getting to know them. But the shared vision, and then having lunch with Chancellor Williams, President Keller, is to listen to the way Jared talks about you and your leadership, and then the Board of Regents, for you all to be here and be present today and have an active influence in athletics. That means the world. And then all of you that are here today, you want to go coach at a place where football matters and athletics matter, and you don't have to look any further than the turnout that's in this room today. So alignment was number one, and that was very clear from the beginning that UNT is firmly aligned. The second thing is location. Is the Denton community in the greater DFW area. Not only is this a great place to live, which was a major factor for Brooke and I, but the ability to recruit some of the best high school football players in the entire country, and not only at the high school level, but have an opportunity to bring some of those guys back home through the transfer portal was really important. The third thing is you want to coach at a place that's well-resourced within a league. And Dr. Keller, Jared, Connor, and their entire athletic department team have North Texas firmly planted in the upper tier of the American Conference. And then you want to have the opportunity to build on the success of Coach Morse and to continue to do things that have never been done here before. And I really think we're just scratching the surface of what North Texas football and the athletic department can be. To give you an idea, just from a program perspective, and I won't get into details, I think there's enough time later to get into those, but I will say this, and Jared talked about this, is our motto is the relentless pursuit of better. How can we challenge not only myself, but our staff and our players to continue to improve on a daily basis? And we're going to attack that. Our program objectives are simple. There's 3 of them, and not in any order. The first one is develop men. We're teachers at heart. We want to develop men that are going to have a positive impact on our campus and our greater community. The second thing is we want to graduate our student athletes, and we want to place them. I think it's our duty to go place them in a career field or in the National Football League. And the third thing is win championships. And I'll say this, and I mean these words. We'll win an American Conference championship, and we're going to play in the college football playoff. And it's not when, it's not if, it's just when. But we're on a collision course to do that. Our team, both on the field and off the field, we're going to be disciplined. We'll be accountable to the greater good. We're going to be tough. And then we're going to be committed to each other and the UNT brand. My promise to our players, and there's some here today, and I think it speaks very, very highly of Coach Morris and his staff, is 100% attendance. One individual who's chasing an award tonight, Drew, and I wish him the best, and he should win the Burleson Award tonight. He was not, everybody else was in that room today. I think that speaks very highly of the culture that Coach Morris and his staff instilled here. But my promise to them is this, is we'll be a players first program. What that means is every decision that we will make from a leadership perspective will be with those players in mind. And we're going to create an environment that can allow them to be at their best when their best is needed. It's going to be an environment that's fun. There's going to be positive energy. We're going to compete in everything, and we're going to push them for continuous improvement every single day. And the formula for success is this, is we've got to recruit at a high level. And we sit in one of the most fertile areas in the entire country for high school football. So we got to recruit, and we're going to focus in the state of Texas. That's going to be our focus. And then we got to develop. Once guys are here, we've got to develop. Even though football has changed, it's still a developmental sport. And we've got to take those tools, and we've got to use our ability here at North Texas to develop our guys. And the third thing is retention. We got to retain, and it starts with this team. There's a lot of really good football players on this current roster, and we need to work to retain those guys. And when you talk about retention, it's financial commitment, but it's also providing a world-class experience, building relationships, because relationships matter, and then putting them in NFL systems that give them an opportunity for what's next. On the football field, To give you a picture of what it's going to look like. From an identity standpoint, we're going to play fast. We're going to strain. We're going to be a physical football team. We're going to be smart, both situationally and schematically, and we're going to finish everything. On offense, very similar background to Coach Morris. We're going to be fast-paced. We're going to attack. We're going to put the ball in space. We're going to get the ball to our playmakers, and we're going to create explosive opportunities, and we're going to run the ball to win. On defense, aggressive style. We're going to stop the run. We're going to put pressure on the quarterback. We're going to create takeaways. And on special teams, those are opportunities. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to invest time. We're going to be innovative on that side of the ball, and we're going to create game-changing plays. I can't tell you how excited I am to be the head football coach at North Texas. We will make you proud. I'm going to kick it back over to Kyle for questions. Thank you all for being here.
All right, so now we'll have an opportunity to facilitate a Q&A with both Jared Mosley and head coach Neal Brown, and then we'll open up to the media for questions. But, Coach, I'm going to start with you initially here. You talked about the background that you've had in collegiate coaching, both as a coordinator and as a head coach. We've seen the bio by this point in time, but where are some of the influences in your current coaching style and leadership style? Where can you kind of pinpoint where those influences have come from?
Well, I think it starts with my father. My dad was in a leadership position for most of his professional career, both as a principal and then an administrator in public education. So I think it starts with him. I was very fortunate. My high school football coach is probably the most successful high school football coach in the modern era of Kentucky high school football. He had a tremendous impact. And then at Kentucky, I played for Hal Mumme. And Hal Mumme is the creator of the air raid offense. So a lot of the plays that y'all cheered on for explosive plays, they started with a guy named Hal Mumme. And then very fortunate as a coordinator, coordinating for 3 highly successful head football coaches. Started with Larry Blakeney at Troy. And I want to recognize him because later this week he'll get inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. And so him, Senator Tuberville, so was able to work for Senator Tuberville at Texas Tech and learned a lot from him. And then Mark Stoops at the University of Kentucky, who really most successful, winningest coach in Kentucky or in University of Kentucky history. So those are my influences. I'm a little bit of all those. You know, I think anybody that's successful kind of takes bits and pieces from everyone along the way.
And how do you feel like that style has evolved now that you have been in leadership positions at Troy and at West Virginia? And how different are you of a coach now than you were back when you started those 2 roles?
I would say quite a bit. And I think the biggest change happens when you're a parent and as your kids get older. And so I have a 17-year-old daughter. So the group that I was talking to today, I have daily experience in the very same age group. And so the good and the bad, right? And so, and I mean that. I think that's the change. As you mature, you grow. If you're not, I don't understand why you wouldn't continue to get better regardless of what profession that you're in. So am I going into year 18 in a leadership position? I'm considerably better than year 1, and I'll be better in year 19. And so you learn, you grow, you continue. I think learning technology and those type of things is extremely important as well, but you continue to grow.
Jared, I want to go back to those conversations that you and the hiring committee had with Coach Brown. Tell me about when the moment was for you that Coach Brown was the right hire and he was the right person for the job.
You know, I think this, and I talked about this when we did this 3 years ago with Coach Morris, but it was very evident early in. Coach Brown has a very articulate plan. Like and that plan's not something that's, you know, tailored to somewhere else he's been. It was tailored to the moment in time at North Texas, the opportunities we have ahead of us, the amazing things that are starting to align for us to have successful programs consistently. And you know, I think anytime that you have somebody who already has a vision for it, the ability to execute that is light years ahead of coming in and then trying to figure that out later. So he just did a phenomenal job outlining his vision and the things he feels we can be successful here at. And I'll say this too, I think anytime these jobs are hard, and we talk about this with our staff all the time, but the culture and the relationships you build in this business, these jobs are hard enough. You don't want to work with people who are difficult to work with. And immediately and I think that's the reputation Coach Brown has at every stop he's been, like he's a partner in what we're trying to accomplish. And in college athletics, you have to have partners at every level of the organization to make that happen. It can't just be one. You can't have 2 of 3 or 5 of 6. Like, it's got to be everybody aligned. And just really appreciated his ability to articulate that vision here, because I think it's going to resonate with our staff and the people who get to serve this program moving forward.
And how did this search compare to the one that you had for Coach Morris when you were looking for that specific spot in that position to be hired before making the jump to the American Conference?
I think it's a testament to where we are today. I mean, this search was light years different than the one 3 years ago. And I think both in depth and quality of the people interested in this job. I mean, it was pretty remarkable sitting down and looking at the list of people who wanted this opportunity. And again, you go back to, what ultimately early on in the process, just Neal's ability to articulate that, his ability to connect and have relationships. Listen, I've said this before here. There's a lot of things in college athletics. It's a roller coaster success. You're going to have highs, you're going to have lows. And there are going to be times in this business you give it your best and it maybe just doesn't fall your way. But the one thing we're never going to fail at is having a place that cultivates good relationships. And I just think that's the foundation of success at every level. When you have a building that loves to work together, that believes in the mission, and they have their eyes set on it, like you can accomplish anything you want to accomplish. And I think we've seen that. And so the opportunity again to have Coach Brown now step into this role and to lead this football program, I'm excited.
Coach, you mentioned the importance of family and how much you and your family are going to give back to the Denton community and to connect with the student body. But how important is it for you and your staff to have the reversal, to have the Denton community rally around you and your staff along with the North Texas student body?
Well, that's the hope. We have to go earn that. I think that starts with trust, and we have to go. It's our duty to go earn that. And I think to do that, you got to go meet people where they're at. And so, the students, as I started researching this, is the students were so active at this stadium this year, and so one of the first things, when I'm able to get when school's back in session and they're not doing finals, is it's my duty to go get on campus and meet the Mean Green Maniacs, spend time with those, because I think they really set the tone for the atmosphere that's going to be within the stadium. And so it's my duty to get on campus and go around and meet the deans, have lunch on campus, be present for the students where they have a relationship, they're able to connect, so they want to come support. And then the same thing in the Denton community. Brooke and I, we've got to be visible. The staff's got to be visible. We've got to go out to the other sporting events. I'm looking forward to watching basketball games. I'm looking forward to watch softball games. I'm looking forward to having a presence where you can have intentional and unintentional connections with people and discussions, where my hope is that we can connect we can maintain what we have, which is a really strong following, and it's a crew that's really excited right now. It's our job to maintain that excitement, and then have them buy in not only to the UNT vision, but also to have the personal connection to not only myself but the staff.
I will say my wife has already texted me and said that she likes hearing you speak. So you're already making a connection. She's at home with our babies. But
tell her I appreciate it. Again, tell my daughters. Tell my daughters.
There you go. You heard it first. Coach, last one from me, but you also talked about the importance of recruiting Texas and the prevalence of Texas high school football. How much did your year with the University of Texas and down with Coach Sarkisian play an impact on your connection within the Lone Star State?
Well, let me start with this. Very thankful for my time at the University of Texas. Steve Sarkisian, Chris Del Conte, they were absolutely tremendous to me. And not only was it extremely validating to be there, and a lot of the way that program and all the success they've had, the setup, the processes, the systems, there's a lot of things that where what we've done in the past, but also the ability to learn and see new ways to doing things. Just very grateful, and being able to connect with a lot of people. You know, some of our best years in the coaching profession were in Lubbock, Texas, when we fortunate to be the offensive coordinator there in 2010, 2011, 2012. And during that time, you know, I'd spent most of my career on the East Coast. So being able to get here to Texas, and once you recruit, and anybody that has any type of coaching background will understand this, is not only high school football, but just athletics at the high school level in the state of Texas are set up and invested in here better than anywhere else in the country. And so to have that experience of being in those schools, 10, 11, and 12, and forming those relationships with high school coaches and the people that are active in developing the student athletes, especially in the Metroplex and East Texas, Central Texas into Houston, to have those connections, and then be able to renew those relationships in the past year, I think it gives us a really a leg up, and we're ready to get started. You know, we're gonna our main recruiting base is right here at home. And then other than maybe going into Oklahoma, we're not going to go outside the state borders for high school football players. So just really fortunate in that regard.
Opening the questions to the media, remember, if you could, give us your name and your publication when you do ask your question. Who wants to start it off? Brett? Go with Brett Vito.
Yeah, Brett Vito, Denver Chronicle. Coach Brown, you had some great experience there at Troy at the Group of Five level. How did that experience help prepare you as you jump back to the Group of Five level? And how did the experience of going up to West Virginia and Texas maybe change your perspective as you prepare to enter this job?
Yeah. First of all, Brett, appreciate you being here. Appreciate you covering. I can remember you've been on the other side of it when we were at Troy, both as a coordinator and as the head coach. So I appreciate you being here. And so I think the experience of being a head coach, until you're in this chair, you really don't know all the things that go into it. And the daily decisions starts with who you hire staff-wise, how you're going to build your roster. Having that experience is absolutely critical. You know, I think, too, that when you're on a university setting is understanding how to build relationships on campus at the presidential level, at the chancellor level, board of regents. I think that's really critical. And so I'm very blessed to have the opportunity to do that at two universities. At Troy, we caught that it was the right time. Larry Blakeney had been there for a really long time. Great tradition, had fallen down a little bit for whatever reason, and we were able to come and really ignite energy. And we were on an incredible run, won 10-plus games 3 years in a row. That fan base got behind us, and we did some really neat things, 3 bowl wins, conference championship, et cetera. Took that to West Virginia, and really proud of what we did. You know, just like I spoke about Eric, really feeling like he leaves North Texas better than he found it. And we feel really strongly that we left West Virginia University better than we found it. We were able to set a solid foundation for that. We had to maneuver a lot of changing landscape. You know, he took that job in 2019, COVID hits, NIL hits, transfer portal, all those kind of things. And we leave that, you know, in 23 and 24, we had the second most wins in the Big 12 of anybody. And so we've really felt like we made a positive impact. And then not only those 2 stops, Brett, but having the opportunity over the last year to go visit a lot of places in the winter, and then spending the 9 months at Texas, those really help influence me too, to see in other perspectives and other ways of doing things as we take the realm here and get back into get back to the Group of Five level in the American Conference.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the experiences against North Texas, because you beat them in the bowl game, and if I'm not mistaken, you were at North Texas when Troy ended the 26-game conference winning streak. What are your memories of just playing against North Texas, and what does that give you in terms of perspective as you come back?
Well, I think my first memories of North Texas were of Coach Dickey and really the dominance he had in the Sun Belt Conference. So if you look back at the history, and I think about this, you know, over the last several days, but North Texas had a tremendous run, winning, was it 4, Brett? Was it 4 in a row Sun Belt Conference championships? And then at Troy, we kind of went ahead, and we went up. I was part of 4 staffs that won conference championship. They ended up winning a 5th after we left. But I remember that game that you're talking about. I remember playing at Fouts Field when it was cold and rainy, when Coach Dodge was the head coach, and then the bowl game. And the bowl game, and I will say this, in 2017, and we had a top 20 team in the country. We beat LSU at LSU. We were dominant within the Sun Belt Conference. And our guys, that was one of the best games we played all year. And so don't hold that against me. I'm on the good side now. So, but yeah, those are some memories.
Dia Wall from WFAA. I just have two. The first, have you had an opportunity to connect with the team? What is kind of your message for your players as you kind of kick off a new recruitment season?
Yeah, so we had a team meeting this morning. And so, again, very gracious of them for giving me time. It was quick. My approach on this is this 2025 season is not done. And so this 2025 team is getting ready to go play New Mexico and play a great San Diego State team 2 days after Christmas, and an opportunity to get to the 12th win. And so that's their team. I'm not part of that yet, okay? All I want to do is I want to be around them, and my main goal with those players right now is building relationships. And they all start with a clean slate with me. I ask them to give me the opportunity to get to know them. And that's the most important thing, is for me to connect. I want to know what their story, I want to know their background. I want them to know what's important for me, what kind of makes me click. And so that's the main thing over the next days and couple weeks here, is getting to know them. We've got plenty of time to talk about what our program's going to look like, how we're going to recruit, all those things. Main priority with the players on campus is absolutely connecting and building relationships.
Second one for me, I know you talked a little bit about Texas, but what about North Texas specifically, not only for you as a coach at this program here at North Texas, but for your family? What attracted you?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I appreciate you separating those questions, not giving them both to me at once. I appreciate that, because you would have wasted time. You'd had to repeat it. So I appreciate that. Is this area, and so when Brooke and I started this journey, and we really started back probably in the spring, of where did we see ourselves, and I'll give you a big picture. So we've done this for 17 years, 10 as a head coach. I don't guess it's in the bio. So I'm 45. All right, I'll be 46 in March. And so we really look at this as the second half. We've kind of played the first half. You know, there's some really good memories, some things we got to grow from. But now we enter the second half of a head coaching career, and we're ready, probably more energized than we've ever been. And we wanted to do it at a place, and I talked about this, alignment was critical, having resources are critical, but from a family perspective is giving our oldest will be going to college, but giving our 14-year-old daughter and our 10-year-old son a place that's a great place to live. Quality schools, things to do, quality athletic programs for them to be a part of, whether it's club soccer, baseball. So this area has it all. This is one of the best places to live in the entire country. And so as we started evaluating, and you play a little bit of a guessing game in the spring, and you start thinking about what are some potential jobs where we know people that make sense for us from a family. And this was absolutely one of them in North Texas. And this was a place, we weren't going to consider places that weren't a quality place for our 14 or our 10-year-old to continue their upbringing.
Good morning, Coach. Haley Stone with the North Texas Daily. You were announced as the new head coach the day before early signing day. How do you plan on building this 2026 roster, whether through attacking the portal or high school recruiting?
Yeah, great question. Thank you for being here too. So I think there's two pieces of it, right? There's the recruiting of retaining your own roster, right? Because there's the whole team that I'm recruiting today, starting today. And that's probably the most important recruiting. Second piece is high school. We signed a handful of kids, and I need to really connect with them and their families over the next couple days. And then there's going to be opportunities to add to that 2026 high school recruiting class. And the personnel department and I will start diving into that in the coming days, because I do feel like there's some opportunity to there's some quality high school student athletes that haven't signed yet that I really feel like we can add. But it's not going to be as big a class as normal. Normally, we want to sign 15 to 20 high school student athletes. That's probably not going to be the case this time. And so we're going to have to be really portal heavy in January. And it's going to be 2 weeks where a lot of visits, A lot of getting to know guys quickly. But we're going to have to rebuild the roster in a lot of different ways. And we got to do it with talent, but we also got to do it with guys that can be successful here academically. They're going to make a positive impact, but also the right cultural fit, because you only get one time to start. And so it's really important for us that we have people in our locker room that are going to be really foundation pieces for the culture we want to build.
You touched on the conversations that you're going to start having today. North Texas has had a lot of turnover in recent years. What's your plan of attack for trying to keep some of these guys here?
Yeah, the main thing is, and I spoke to this when I was at the podium, I think retention comes down is there's got to be a financial commitment, and we'll be able to keep some and some we won't. And that's the world we live in. And if guys go from here to another level of football, then I really believe that that's helping our marketing and promoting for us to get guys in return, okay? The second thing is having a world-class experience. And Coach Morris, Jared, his staff have really done that. They've created a world-class experience here. We want to continue to build on that and make it even better. We want to build relationships. I think the connection piece is so important, is being able in a short amount of time to be able to connect and get to know not only the student athlete, but also their families or whoever is playing a major role in their life. We've got to do a lot of digging in that and be able to connect with them, because I think that's probably going to be the most important piece as we retain the roster. And then we got to give them a vision of what it's going to look like. What's the future look like? What do the systems look like? How are they going to earn playing time, and how are they going to be productive?
Hey, Coach. Ian Pfaffenberger for the North Texas Daily. Coach Morris expressed some interest a while ago in just wanting to help aid the new coach into their transitional period into a new head coach. Have you guys had any talks, or are there any future plans for talks between you two?
Yeah, we've had multiple conversations, and I don't want to speak to him, and Jared could probably answer this, but I get a sense in my conversations with him is he has deep respect for North Texas football, and he wants to make sure he exits in the right way, and he's been very helpful. He's been very helpful, and he's busy right now, but I'm sure in the next coming days we're going to connect again. But we've had multiple conversations, and he's been really helpful, and I know he's talked to Jared a good bit as well. So the answer is yes, he is exiting, in my opinion, in a very positive manner, and he's being very helpful.
Good morning, Coach. Miles Metter with the North Texas Eagle. You talked about player retainment, but also coaching retainment. Is that something you've kind of looked forward to? And if so as well, what's the timeline on kind of getting these newer coaches in here?
Yeah. Well, I think you got to be careful with your timeline, right? You've got to be judicious. You want to hire the right people, all right? And it needs to be in a timely manner, but you don't want to go too fast. You got to really get to know them. You got to get the right fits. And when you put together a coaching staff, it's kind of like putting together a puzzle. And you got to get a really good understanding what their strengths are and maybe where they're not as strong, so you can surround those individuals with people that maybe where they're a little weak, other people are strong, right? And we've got to get Texas ties and even narrow it down a little bit more. We've got to get some North Texas ties, okay? And I'm talking about individuals that have played here that have blood, sweat, and tears in this program. I think that's important. Texas high school recruiting ties is absolutely going to be critical. And so it's going to take a little bit of time. It'll start with the current staff, and Coach Morris and I will have some discussions about that, because I'm sure a lot of these guys are going to follow him to Oklahoma State, and rightfully so, and that's a close group. They did a great job, and so that'll start there. I look forward to getting to know the people that are still here, and we'll start with that. Then hopefully to have some foundational pieces in place soon, a general manager, a defensive coordinator, offensive line coach, some of those foundational pieces of the staff hope to have in place here in the coming days.
And you've seen him as well, Mason Fine, back in 2017, and UNT's had a lot of success with quarterbacks. How do you plan on continuing that development every single year? Because it feels like every year you lose someone, but North Texas is regaining and they're continuing to succeed. How do you expect to continue that?
Yeah, no pressure, right? Mason Fine, Chandler Morris, Drew, no pressure. So fortunate that we're in an area, the Metroplex, where you have an opportunity to recruit some of the best high school quarterbacks in the country, and it's also an attractive place there's quarterbacks that have gone and signed elsewhere that'll be in the portal that have a strong interest in coming home. And so we're going to have options. It's important that we choose the right one, but we're definitely going to have options.
Stephen Hawkins with the Associated Press. Jared, to your left. I'm going to have a question for Jared before I went from Neal. When Eric took the job at Oklahoma State, he said that he was going to finish this season and go through the bowl. Is that still the same, or has that changed?
So we've talked, he and I have had some great discussions. I think certainly had CFP been on just because from a timing perspective, that was something he wanted to make sure he saw through. I do think with this bowl being a little bit later, and he obviously has a lot on his plate there, like we probably will look at letting him be a little more engaged there and figure out an interim solution here. We'll have some more information on that probably in the next 24 to 48 hours. But we've had some good discussions. Great thing is we've got a great staff in place now. I mean, these guys who have poured into these young men all season long, like they all have a job to complete. And so we'll manage this change, probably in a way that's similar to several other places going through this with us.
And Neal, you were asked a few minutes ago about the G5 and kind of coming back to this level. Obviously, a lot has changed. Like you said, when you were at West Virginia, there was a portal, there's NIL now and all that. How has that changed what you have to do at this level in trying to, like you said, retention is a big thing. How has it changed as kind of these roles of G5 coach now?
Yeah, I don't really think about it as levels. Like, we're going to make this situation the very best it can. We're going to treat our guys, the way that the Texas guys are treated that I've witnessed for the last 9 months, we're going to treat our players the exact same. We might, I call it balling on a budget. We might ball on a little smaller budget, but we're still going to ball, okay? And so, and so we're going to treat these guys and give them a world-class experience, but I don't really concentrate on the level. It's, hey, we're going to make this the very best situation for our student athletes on a daily basis, and they're going to see that we care, and they're going to feel that investment.